What's up everybody, it's Conger Live and we're back with another TMNT Mutant Madness video. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, ninja kick that subscribe button for more TMNT Mutant Madness content. Now I've been telling you guys, since my computer's been down, I got it back up, I'm going to be doing a Channel 6 run of my Channel 6 that I've actually been doing for quite some time. I've been doing the same 10 levels since before the reworks of the previous season, and I'm still in the same 10 levels after those nerfs that happened, and even after other balance changes, I'm still in the same 10 levels. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why when we get to some of the levels that are challenging and to why they're challenging. And I'm using almost the exact same setups that I was using before, but you guys have seen me do these channels. If you saw my Channel 6 video from, I don't know, 3 months ago, then you've seen me do these levels already. I'm going to talk a little bit about the lineup I'm using now and what I was using in beforehand. So I'm at level 675 to 685, and 685 is a super huge challenge, especially after the nerfs. Now I probably could have pushed past 685 before the nerfs, but I knew the nerfs were coming and I didn't want to get stuck like others were and have to drop a bunch of floors. I wanted to maintain my bit generation, and I was very, very lucky to be able to do that. So jumping into 675, this is the lineup that I used at 684, and this lineup actually works for me for 675, so I go ahead and just run with it. But before I would switch my beforehand, I would not be using drag here, I'd be using Donatello. And this was kind of like my main setup for a lot of it, and I'm actually going to use that on a couple levels later. But we're going to go ahead and drop Donatello, even though that would probably still work for this. This is what I was at, and I just like to kind of keep things where they're at if possible for simplicity's sake. Not to say a different lineup wouldn't work, because it would, but this definitely seems to work. When there was the big nerf, of course, it was Zorax. And as you see, I am still using Zorax in Channel 6. I do believe that when I take manual control and when I'm playing in PvP, I do prefer Shredder. But Zorax is still a really, really great tune. He's not as meaty up front. He does have some skills that give him defense. And I think he got that defense fill right there from Splinter, actually, but Shredder just has more consistent damage, although he does still hit pretty big. That was 94k for that last hit there. So my first level, no problem. Now the second level, I used to be able to run through almost all my levels with no problem, with 682 being the big problem, but now 676, what I do here is I actually pull Zorax out and throw Donnie back in, and I use it with drag. And the reason why with this one can be a little bit more troublesome since the balances, mostly because there's more defense given to a couple of these characters, I think. But it's basically a drag race here, and we want my drag to get overpowered to do the wasting. I sometimes have to play this level 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So if I don't beat it this time, I won't make you watch every single time that I play it. I will edit the video, but just know that this is the lineup that does work. So hopefully I get a first round win. It's looking pretty good so far, but their drag can also go super ham on my drag. The nice thing is here is that it looks like I should be okay having the advantage. The thing that I don't want to happen is to see their drag waste my drag. So this looks good. This looks good. 677 used to also be very, very easy. The same lineup I showed you, my old lineup, I actually still use the same old lineup. So I'm going to pull almost the same one. I put Zorax in. But after the balance changes, I found that the way that the characters move, Taka up front actually works better. And you guys may have been wondering, why was Taka in back? It's just because the way that they move and position themselves, it worked out better with Taka being in back. But in this one, he needs to be up front for the way that Donnie positions. Otherwise, Donnie gets melted way too fast. And I need his defense on Zorax for this to work out. This level may need to be played a few times. Okay, attempt 19. Let's hope this is it. This level was never really a challenge for me before the nerfs of Season 5. And then when they gave buffs in this season, it became a huge challenge. Napoleon got a buff, Zach got a buff. And that is what made this particular level such a challenge. The extra damage output that they give, not just the damage output, but like Napoleon, I think, strips more defense away. You know, making it to where it's tougher for my characters to stay alive has made this a huge challenge. But it looks like we may be getting lucky enough on attempt 19. So it just takes a little bit of RNG. The clustering has to be just right. Zorax needs to be able to eliminate Napoleon early on and Zach early on. Let Karai kill April. And there we have it. We win. Now that was attempt 19, but I've sat there for 45 minutes before. Now with 678, I put Taka back in the back line. These next levels are generally pretty easy. I'll sometimes lose once or twice on this level. I'm not sure why, especially since Donnie was nerfed and the rest of the tunes didn't get buffs. I think it's just a matter of RNG. But generally I'm able to move through the next few levels quite smoothly until we get to level 682. Now I have lost Zorax, but that's okay because Taka, with everybody around him, is actually pretty beefy. He just smashed all three of those guys, leaving nothing but Mondo to get ganged up for the rest of this channel 6 level. So we're going to make some quick work of that. And we're gonna move on to the next one. And I'm gonna keep this lineup. This lineup is probably one of my most core lineups right here. And of course, sometimes, as you saw, I put Taka and switch Taka and Donnie. Sometimes I would even switch April and Splinter. In fact, there are some times where Splinter works better in the back mid and April works better on top. But because it's almost not important how that lines up, you can just try over and over again and RNG will fall in place for you. That's not so much of a deal breaker there. It's just sometimes you want Donnie and Taka to switch places so that they run out in a different spacing, because their speed, slow affects how fast they walk. And they don't walk a whole lot, but how they walk at the beginning of the match matters. I think the speed matters the most then. And then it matters a little bit when after you eliminate an enemy and then you keep walking. And we're just going to keep this lineup for the next few matches. It's great. It's great. And we usually win first try on most of these. We're nearing our next trouble level though. 682 was actually hugely troublesome before the nerfs and after the nerfs, and then after the balances, but I changed the way I approached it with the more recent balances, and it's working out fairly well with only a few attempts to pull out a win. There are some days where I get bad RNG and I have to spend 20 minutes, maybe 15-20 minutes, 15-20 attempts, basically about a minute an attempt, getting past 682, but hopefully we do it pretty quickly today. It did take us about 20 minutes, about 19 attempts is what I counted on 677, which is the first troublesome level, which actually tends to be more troublesome for me on a daily basis than 682. 681 not really a trouble. Sometimes the Baxters will target the same grouping just right that it blows everybody up, but usually I'm able to get enough damage in before they go with their ults, and it doesn't really matter, right? But if they're able to get their ults before, and my team is still all clustered up, and they do this like a double targeting, they can blow people up. But it's pretty rare that happens. As you can see, they've kind of separated. They've ran away. They're targeting different enemies. Yeah, they didn't even get to do their big AoE. And we're just marching right through with that same simple lineup. So this is a really good lineup. You could probably use this on many, many, many levels that I'm not showing. Now here, with 682, I had always made some changes. So my original lineup was like this. Okay. After the balance changes, it didn't work anymore because Irma is a freaking beast. Even Dementor got a small buff. So I put Splinter up top, and just like what you saw at the beginning, bye Donnie, we want Dreg. And the reason we want Dreg is, and him and Donnie fill similar roles, because if you look at him, he's a trickster support. You know, Donnie, squad is full. Let's take him out. We're going to put Donnie back up in here. Donnie's a trickster support, so they're very, very similar in what they do. But Dreg, because with Channel 6, you just want to win. You don't need to keep everybody alive for more points like in PvP, which, although you see, I'm still using both of them in my PvP. Okay, this is the 8th time we're trying this level. What we need to happen is just some good RNG, just like on 677. I've played with the different lineups. I know that this one works the best based on the way that Zorax moves, how we get the defense. It's okay that Splinter dies early. He was able to give a defense bar to Taka once, and everybody gets that starting bonus. What we want is for Taka and Zorax to do enough damage to most of the tunes that we're able to get people low on health, so that when Dreg starts going crazy, when people start dying, he's able to start eliminating people like this. Now, even though it's one-on-one, Irma could still blast Dreg out. It's all about that RNG and that speed, and it looks like Dreg is going to finish it off. Please, there we go. So less attempts than 677. This is definitely generally the faster of the two troublesome levels. But the rest of my levels, I can just use this lineup, and it's going to take me up to 685. Now, when you see the lineup in 685, you're going to understand why it's a headache. And I've been looking through, and I still haven't figured out exactly how I want to approach that level. If anybody out there has the success for that particular level without using a 5-star hero, let me know in the comments down below. All right. But the rest of these levels, this lineup works, so I just leave it. And then that's why this is the same lineup you saw at the beginning of the video, which I used for the very first level of my climb, because I don't want to be moving tunes around if I don't have to. Right? So we got a couple more levels to see, and we will almost be finished with this video. 684. This level sometimes will give me a stop. I won't get through because of some bad RNG, but most of the time I make it through this thing right away. I think the RNG that can be troublesome here is that we have two Mondos that like to stun, and if they happen to stun the right people at the right time, and Zorax, you know, runs around doing what he's not supposed to do, then I can get a loss on this level. Like Zorax is stunned right now by one of the Mondos. If the other Mondo comes in, like they chain stun Zorax, that's when it becomes a problem. But it looks like I got this in the bag, and this usually never takes me more than 2 attempts. It's like, oh, I lost it at once, let's go again. And of course, as you see, very, very successful with this particular lineup. So I really like this lineup. So the two major lineups that you saw in this video are this one and the one that I did half the climb with. My two main lineups. Now you can see there are two Irmas. There's a Trag, a Rocksteady, and a Shredder. Trag gives out defense. Rocksteady lowers the attack of my characters. Shredder has splashback damage and has a decent armor and strength. And Irma's, two of them just blast. Like the two of them will just blow me up so fast. So if anybody has any hints on how to get past this, let me know. Of course, maybe there's a better lineup. Maybe I need to put Donnie back in. I'm not sure. But these two Irmas are about to go crazy and just blow everybody up. Here's one Irma special. Boom, done. You're not going to pull it off, Drag. Not going to happen. All right. So that's it for my Channel 6 climb. I hope you guys found this helpful. Try out some of these lineups. What characters are you using? What Channel 6 level are you stuck at? Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to ninja kick that like button and subscribe for more TMNT Mutant Madness content. Let's game smarter here. We'll see you in the next video.